Hey guys, welcome back to Thorough Capping. For part two of Saratoga, Saturday 7/22. We're looking at races 6 through 11. And before I even get there, what I want to do is I want to bring your attention. I wanted to do this in the last video to some of the items down here. As you can see, the grid section. For those of you who have the tutorial. The grid section has expanded a little bit to include the grids that I've been using. So you have your normal basic original grids where we calculate all the ratings, target, ability for every single horse before we even eliminate any type of contenders or anything. The pace, velocity for everybody, and so on. You have 4 sheets of them, and each sheet has probably about 50 or 60 grids on it. So it's almost like probably about 2 years worth of grids for you. I also have the follow the figures grid, and the follow the figures is the separate program that I have not been using lately. And when I have been using it, I use it usually as a supplemental. If I finished a particular race day or a card a few days ahead of time, and I've done everything I need to do, what I might do is I might run a few races through the follow the figures just to maybe separate or just get reassurance on a few horses. But this is not a main go-to set of factors that I use solely by itself, standalone. Then I have the summary grids where only one horse is listed per race for each area or each factor. And then I have the summary grids too, which is the one I've been using for the past couple races where I list the top 2, and in some categories I list the top 3. Alright, so they are all available on the Thorough Capping tutorial. On the one slide where it says download grids, click it, and then just go up and file copy or file create your own, and then you can make your own set of grids. So if you have Thorough Capping and you've already downloaded before I put these on, just go back in and download the grid again, and you'll find them on there. Okay, so let's go to Saratoga today, or tomorrow, and let's take a look at what we have. Race number 6. Race number 6, I narrowed this down to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I only want to say I narrowed it down. It's only a 6-horse field, but every horse was worthy, I thought, of moving on to the pace and velocity. And I'm glad I did that simply because I don't know how high I would rank the 3-horse. But when I saw this, I said, you know what, the 3's got to be one of my top 2. Simply because he is showing up on the Matrix and, trainer rating one time. But I have 1, 3, 4, 2. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this race. It is a 6-horse field. We'll just look at it real quick in case there's anything that stands out that I want to mention. I did eliminate 1 horse in the qualitative process. Actually, it was because he's a main track only. And I think it's supposed to be pretty clear tomorrow, at least for most of the card. There are chances of thunderstorms, but fingers crossed it doesn't happen. Race 7 is another one of those main special weight for 2-year-olds. No data for anybody. So I have actually narrowed this down to 5 horses. And again, we'll talk about a little bit about things I've been looking for with these first-time starters. And that is the bullet work, followed by a work within at least 7 or 8 days. And that's what we have here. And then coming out the run. And so we have the 2-horse at 15-1. I have the 3-horse, trainer notations. And you got Pratt for Chad Brown. The 6-horse, same thing. We have a bullet work, followed by 2 fairly close workouts. But yet not too hard of a workout to where he's not going to have anything for today. Just keeping the horse fresh and running today. That's 6 Ortiz for Pletcher. And that combination right there is another reason why I'm going to include this 7-horse. Bullet works a little further back, June 19th. But if you count the days, we have 7 days. Okay, we have another 30 days in June for 8 days later. 7 days later, 7 days later. Brad Cox, good first time starter rating, 19%, 575 sample size, and debuting maiden special weights, he's 20%. And we have a good connection as well between the two of them. And then the 9 horse, we have the Irad for Pletcher combination. So those are the 5 that I narrowed it down to. And the only thing I'll be doing, if anything, with this race would be including these horses in a multi-race wager. And I may not even have to worry about anything with this race simply because if I don't play the pick 5, races 7 through 11, then I get to dodge that race and play the pick 4, 8 through 11. All right. So I very well may only look for value on the horses that I have, especially that 2 horse that's morning line 15-1, and maybe put something on that horse to win. But let's look at race number 8. Race number 8, the 4 horse shows up 3 times in the matrix factors, along with the 8 as the top final fraction. The 3 and the 4 dominate the pace velocity grid. And the 4 and the 3 right now are movers. Turn move, stretch move. I got the 5 as a drop down pace setter. But at the same time, I also have 5 class droppers in this race. And the more class droppers we have, now if we look at the pace grid for race 8, the 5 horse didn't even dominate velocity wise last time out, based on the pace lines that I pulled, and they were all recent pace lines. So I can't say that this horse is definitely because of the class drop. You know, he doesn't even show up in the averages over here. So that's not a horse that I'm going to lean on and say, oh, he's got to be a top play because he's a class dropping pace setter. Simply for that reason. But I will include him. Now I have 2 different viewpoints here, okay? Viewpoint number 1 is solely based on what I'm seeing in my numbers here. 4, 3, 5, 8. If you take a second, you can look at that, and you can see why I'm coming to that conclusion. But then I also have a 1, 4, 3, 8. And if we look at the PPs, where are we at? Yeah. We have the 1A. Let's start with the 1A. The 1A is Shipper, coming off 2 consecutive wins, but I can't get any information from these foreign PPs other than final time. I can't get a target rating. I can't get ability rating. I can't look for any moves the horse made in the race or so forth. But yet he's got a ton, because of Chad Brown, Irad connection. You know, he's got a ton of great workouts. He's got a good workout pattern since he shipped over here. And then here, the 1 horse, Pratt, for Chad Brown also. So we have 2 Brown runners. This one's coming out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, Grade 1. Didn't run too bad. Okay. Ran well in another Grade 2, Pilgrim, at the Belmont at Aqueduct card. But both are coming off huge layoffs. 22, November of 22, December of 22. So you can go the class route and say, well, you know what, this horse is a, you know, one of these 2 horses, or both of them, are standouts. I mean, the odds are probably going to show it tomorrow. The public's probably going to make them standouts. But at the same time, you could look to try to beat them, or you can. My opinion is you either single them if you're playing a multi-wager, especially if they both run. You single it, or you try to beat it and leave them out. So we look at the grid again. I have 4, 3, 5, 8, and then I have a 1, 4, 3, 8, taking that 5 out of there on the second ticket. So we'll see if there's any scratches where if I can maybe combine this into one set of 4, if the 5 scratches or the 8 or the 3 or whatever. All right, but the 3 horse again stands out as well. coming off a stretch move. Best average overall pace velocity. Best sustained pace velocity. So on. Race number 9. Okay, we have the 5 as the target and ability. Shows up nowhere else here except for tied for third for target, Briz, speed, cumulative. 5 does have the best early pace in the race. He did look like the early speed horse in the race. We have no class droppers. 5's got a trainer notation. Now let's look at the 1 and the 4 and the 2 and the 4. The 4 is showing up here. Top target, Briz. Top speed, cumulative. Also showing up in top sustained pace, top average overall. And when you look at this race is a 1 1/8 miles. Okay, so I'm leaning sustained pace. I'm leaning late runner. And that's what caused me, even all the touting I did about the 5, it's caused me to bump them down a little bit. I'm looking for who runs better on the late part of the races. We have the 4 and the 2. 2 is coming off a stretch move, along with the 4. 4 is coming out of a race with a next out winner. So I have the 4, 2, 5, and then I threw the 6 in the end as my 4th selection. Okay, race number 10. Race 10, the 8 stands out. Target and ability. Also speed, cumulative. Second target, Briz. It's got a factor X, and I think this is a 5.5 furlong race. 6 furlongs. Okay, 6 furlong race. It is a sprint. So we did look at the factor X, and the 8 gets the nod there. Tied with 2 and the 6 in early pace, and then disappears from there. He is dropping in class, so we could look at it both 2 ways. I do not have him identified as one of the 2 early speeds. And if we look at this race, I have the 4, 22 and 3, 46, and I have the 6, 22 and 3, 45. Whereas the 8 horse has done his running slightly off the pace, but against some very good fractions last 2 times out, and that's what puts him on top in the early pace section, along with the 2 and the 6 here. But I have the 8 on top here with the 2, 6, 1 for race number 10. And then finally, race 11. Race 11 was like a real mosh pit over here in the matrix factors. You have 5 different horses on top in the 5 categories. And then all of a sudden, you've got the 5 showing up second. The 12 shows up twice for runner-up in 2 categories. You got the 6 shows up down here. And then the 1 shows up here twice. So this is a race where I really needed to use the pace and velocity, as well as look at the qualitatives as well. Now the 1 horse is an early speed horse who is dropping in class. And the 5 and the 12, if you look at them, the 5 potentially could be on the lead as well. 22-3, 46-4. And then the 12 horse just coming from the outside. I'm not concerned about him. But the 1 horse just seems like he's putting up some better fractions as of late, especially the first quarter. So I gave the nod to the 1 horse as far as the early speed horse of this race. But he could be challenged by this 5 horse. Obviously, by looking at these first 2 calls. Now we look at it again. I ended up leaving the 5 out because he wasn't showing me anything else. He has top target Briz, but I did put the 1 as my top play there, followed by the 6 target horse, turn move, runner up into 3, pace average categories, also trainer notation. And then we have the 12. The 12 horse could be a sneaky one. It's Flavian Pratt. He is best sustained speed. This is a 6 furlong race, so I don't know how much this is going to hold. Weight it's going to hold. I really haven't been doing an evaluation of the segmented pace. I've been letting the averages tell me what I need to know over here. But I mean, we look at the 12, 55.09, 5, 57.96. I mean, I might have to include this 5. I might have to do a secondary set of selections like I did in the other race, and just do it just in case, and put the 5 in on top in case it's a battle between the 5 and the 1. Maybe go 5, 1, 6, 12, and leave out the 7. And again, there may be a scratch or two where I could consolidate and make them one set of 4 selections. We'll see tomorrow. But I really haven't given much thought as far as how I'm going to play the pick 4, or what multi-wagers I'm going to play. If I'm going to play the late, if I'm going to play the early, I'm not sure yet. So I'll determine that tomorrow. I think it's going to be one of those days where I wait for scratches to come out and just kind of do some readjustments in here if I need to, and see if anybody shows up because of the scratches somewhere else, and then make my decisions from there. But hopefully this helps you if you're at home right now handicapping Saratoga for tomorrow. Maybe give you some insight. Please, if you feel like making comments and giving me some insight as well, go for it. Put some comments in there as to why or why not you like a particular horse. And also, I have a link down below into my Discord. Okay, I have a matrix handicapping Discord, and what I'd like to do in there is I like to use that as a portal to answer questions, because I get notifications the minute somebody puts a question in there or a comment, where I can get right back at you. We could share ideas in there, and as well as share tickets, and so on. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.